Another chapter of the Vision 2035 has been launched in Yaoundé with the unveiling of the National Development Strategy chaired by the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. Josephine, who shone the spotlight on government's plan of action towards the emerging plan. We shall be having details with Peter Nsosie in this newscast. Plus, voters' cards, ballot papers have been made available at Ilekam Divisional Headquarters of Vuri in preparations for the upcoming December 6th elections. And in sports, Vensa Abubakar, as at this time, has scored 1 goal against Mozambique as the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, current AFCON champions, are looking forth to return home with 3 points against their Mozambican counterparts. Details of that encounter before the end of this newscast. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining the 6 p.m. newscast on Spectrum Television. I am Josephine Bindzi. As announced in the headlines, Cameroon's second phase of 2035 Emergence Plan Vision has been launched in Yaoundé today with the unveiling of the National Development Strategy. The reference documents to run from 2020 to 2030 guide development action of government towards the emergence plan. Peter Nsosie completes that story.
The transformation of growth-inclined sectors form the foundation of the 2020-2030 National Strategic Document presented in Yaoundé Monday. This means that Cameroon's economy has to move from a primary sector-driven economy to an industrial-driven economy.
Certainly, one of the weak points we want to really work hard to re-engineer our environment such that we become more attractive, such that we attract more foreign investment, such that we build faster our economic growth and make sure that based on the decentralization process which is taking place right now, that we have councils, regions be part of the process in a aligned manner, because the strategy is to make sure that policy at the top level as well as at the lower level are totally aligned.
The pillars of the National Development Strategy are structural transformation of the economy, development of human capital, promotion of employment and economic integration, as well as governance and strategic management of the state. It is a follow-up of the 2009-2019 Growth and Employment Strategic Paper, which now puts growth rate at 4.6% averagely.
Done much more, but we also have to recognize that the environment was not that easy. We have learned our lessons, and we want to think that based on our lessons and based on the commitment of the entire nation, we'll be able to readjust and chart a new path towards becoming an emerging country in 2035.
Government is upbeat that the National Development Strategy will resolve setbacks of the Growth and Employment Strategic Paper by consolidating growth towards economic emergence.
The second semester conference of governors has opened in Yaoundé with special focus securing the December 6th elections, end-of-year festivities, and the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The conference is being chaired by the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji. We remain with you, Peter Nsosie.
The stakes of Cameroon's maiden regional elections cannot be undermined. Besides providing flesh for the special status in the northwest and southwest regions, it also serves as a catalyst for the effective implementation of decentralization. It is for this reason that the 10 regional governors must guarantee the protection of the polls, a key element in the second semester conference of governors holding in Yaoundé. The Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, dishing out special instructions from the head of state, is paying special attention to the northwest and southwest regions, where separatist fighters have been wreaking havoc in schools and kidnapping high-placed officials in a bid to paralyze education and frustrate the holding of the regional elections. With growing insecurity in major towns like Yaoundé and Douala, the interior boss and administrative officials are also finding strategies to secure end-of-year festivities marked by increased circulation and business boom across the country, which often attracts men of the underworld. To assist the regional authorities, the Minister of Decentralization and Local Development, George Elanga Obam, has briefed them on the state of the regional council elections, while the National Police Chief, Martin Bangangele, and the Defense Secretary of State in charge of the National Gendarmerie, Yves Galax Etoga, are mapping out security measures to be implemented by the forces of law and order. The second semester conference of governors, which ends Tuesday, November 17 in Yaoundé, also focuses on the reinforcement of barrier measures against the coronavirus.
And let's now take you to the National Assembly, where the problems relating to the issuance of birth certificates were at the heart of discussions today at the special plenary session of the National Assembly, with proposed solutions put forth by various ministries concerted. John Paul Sama has a review of that meeting.
Statistics from the Ministry of Public Health reveals that over 67% of births in Cameroon are not duly recorded, with over 50% of infants still delivered at home. This is the outcome of a special plenary session at the National Assembly today, devoted to the polemic related to the establishment of birth certificates, as the remoteness of certain areas, lack of awareness, poverty, as well as outright corruption by some civil status agents and council officials all hamper the issuance of birth certificates. To this effect, members of the Civil Status Registry have been called upon to seek solutions to this phenomenon of ghost children, as the government plans to provide around 500,000 kids with birth certificates in the far north, northwest and southwest regions by the end of the year, with the Ministry of Decentralization and Local Development working on a plan to modernize the system of issuing these documents.
And let's now have reactions from MPs with relation to the issuance of birth certificates today in Parliament.
You cannot identify yourself when you don't have a birth certificate. And when in the position where we are now, during the crisis, a gunshot, you will not be looking for your ID or for your birth certificate or for your certificate. The first thing, you save your life. After saving your life, you want to come back, your houses are burned. So we have put down a project. We have formed an NGO where we, the parliamentarians, are going to finance and see what the international body is going to bring into it, so as to start making the identities of Cameroonians who have left their homes. And to make an identity, you must start by the birth certificate. So I think the government is facilitating everything. And I know the government has facilitated it once by making it free of charge.
I think that it is a very preoccupation in our society to understand that 33% of our citizens does have birth certificate. It's immense preoccupation. So what can we do to solve this problem? The solution is in two domains: the preventions and the curative solution. For curative solution, we think that the procedures, administrative and judiciary procedures, must be very accessible, more accessible than they are now.
Children giving birth to in Cameroon must obtain and have their birth certificate. So today we are coming here in Parliament to make sure that we look at measures in which to ameliorate ways of obtaining birth certificate. First difficulty we have is because of some children that are giving birth to out of medical facilities. And when they are giving birth to out of medical facilities, it becomes difficult for them to have their birth declaration. And when they don't have birth declaration, it's difficult to obtain a birth certificate. So we are looking at those measures, and even the measures of costings. How much a birth certificate costs a mother to obtain. And we are looking, if they are so expensive, we see how to ameliorate the condition to make sure that they don't spend much to obtain birth certificate. And also look at the part of decentralization for the mayors to come in. If we are well decentralized and effective, mayors can always come in to help assist some newborn babies to obtain their birth certificate. So all those things are being looked at. Even the issue of a unique identification number, I mean the national security number, that can also be looked at in Parliament to make sure that when a child is given birth to, immediately he or she obtains a national security number that will be his identification number for the rest of his life as a Cameroonian.
And let's now talk the procedure of obtaining birth certificates. In Cameroon, obtaining a birth certificate can be very stressful when you do not know the right steps to follow. Our reporter Crystal Asek Swele with the 6th Assistant Mayor of the Douala 5 municipality who sheds more light on these procedures.
In Cameroon, this is the procedure for the acquisition of a valid birth certificate.
The protocol for obtaining a birth certificate in Cameroon and Douala in particular is the same in all other municipalities. For a start, the child needs to be born. Once the child is born, someone has to declare the child's birth. It could be someone in charge of a health facility for a start, be it the head of the hospital or clinic.
This procedure is quite different for children born under other circumstances, away from health facilities. Joseph Espoir Billon further explains that in such cases, the head of the family will have to present the child, who should not be older than 3 months of age, and a written and signed declaration from the witnesses present during the child's delivery. However, it is worth mentioning that this approach is quite different for the acquisition of a birth certificate when missing, like the case with the internally displaced persons from the northwest and southwest regions.
For those born from the northwest and southwest regions who have fled their regions because of the ongoing socio-political crisis and have lost their birth certificates from one cause or another, we have stretched a hand to the government to give us directives on how to handle such cases. We can go closer to a tribunal for a supplicative judgment because this document carries enough information to reconstitute a birth certificate. We can still find a way for a special judgment in such cases as indicated by the government.
In the meantime, school authorities have received instructions from the government to allow children from these restive regions sitting for the examinations with the presentation of a declaration from their parents or guardians while awaiting a lasting solution from the government.
Voters' cards are now available at the Lekam Divisional Headquarters of Vuri. The cards will be given to municipal councillors and traditional authorities for distribution come tomorrow, November 7, 2020. November 27. Catherine Kone reports that last-minute verifications of names are being corrected and some people are already collecting their cards.
Few weeks to regional elections in Cameroon. Voters' card, ballot papers, voters' lists are now available at the Lekam Divisional Headquarters of Vuri. Workers are now doing last-minute verifications and controls of cards before distribution come tomorrow, November 17, 2020. According to Josh Desiree Dibonge, the chief of bureau, since the announcement of the availability of cards, some people have already been trooping in to collect their cards. He added that the distribution of cards will follow a protocol, that is to say, the cards will be given to municipal councillors and other traditional authorities for distribution. Through two strategies, he further explains, are being implemented in the Lekam Divisional Headquarters in order to reach the personalities constituting the various electoral colleges in the regional election come December 6, 2020. However, after this phase of distribution of voters' cards, campaign will follow suit ahead of the upcoming regional election scheduled to take place on December 6, 2020.
In Cameroon, as with the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, focus was on cooperation in agriculture sector between Cameroon and the United Nations. We have an interview with the resident of the UN coordinator in Cameroon, His Excellency Matthias Nab.
I would like to reiterate that the United Nations is here to support the government and people of Cameroon in its plans towards development and achieving the development objectives of this country. And secondly, this morning we had the opportunity to launch the National Development Strategy, which again, the United Nations had a very strong partnership and collaboration with the government in its development. So this visit to the Ministry of Agriculture and to the Minister and his team is in line with the fact that the Ministry does work very closely with the UN and with a number of UN agencies, IFAD, FAO, WFP, UNESCO, UNDP. And so we consider this ministry also as one of the strongest partners for us. And we do a lot of work, and as the Minister mentioned, a lot of activities with this ministry. We talked about how we want to continue to strengthen our partnership and how moving forward the UN can be much more of a better, a better partner to this ministry in terms of achieving the development objectives as outlined in the National Development Strategy that was launched today. I also took the opportunity to express to the Minister our appreciation of his leadership, in addition to his team, in support of the UN's development of our own cooperation framework. We are in the process of finalizing the UN Cooperation Framework, Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework, which will be aligned to the government National Development Strategy. And this ministry has been very active in our development process of the.
Following the numerous difficulties faced by the people of the Ndonga-Mantung division in the northwest region of Cameroon, access to nearby healthcare facility in the region has been difficult. So the people of this locality have come together to raise funds for the construction of a new modern theater unit to serve their village. Crystal Asexwele with details.
The people of Ndonga-Mantung division in the northwest restive region of Cameroon on Saturday, November 14, 2020, have organized a fundraiser for the construction of a modern theater unit in this locality to serve the population.
The situation that we have been suffering before this project is that for decades today, we have been rushing our patients back to BBH, Banso. That you find it very difficult for us to, when you have a patient there, you need to look for carriers like two, because one will be by the hospital, one will look for another place for one to sleep. So we end up spending a lot of stress because of the lacking of this theater issue. So we just welcome the project. We are very happy about it because it will save lives in our village.
With the socio-political crisis plaguing the region, it has been a constant nightmare for the people to have access to medical care as they are forced to travel long distances seeking for health care. The bad state of the roads does not play in their favor as most patients don't make it to these health facilities alive, especially pregnant women.
The crisis have come and it have become worse because we don't even first of all have the route to go carry the patients out from the town. So pregnant women are dying and people are dying because when they refer you to Banso, it will be difficult for you to travel to Banso. So we just welcome the project that maybe God have helped us through the BBH, through the medical board, because they have come with this fast project, urgent project of the theater. So we know it will help our people back home and will also help us a lot because we have stress when we are staying here and we hear that your patient or your family is admitted in Banso, but you have to spend a lot of money for carers, not even the patient. Right there, down there in Ndonga-Mantung, will not have that problem like we used to have it in Banso.
Funds raised towards this initiative will go a long way to bring this project to life and strengthen the collaboration between the Ndonga-Mantung people and the Baptist Medical Board, whose works and projects are eminent in this part of the country.
We need money. That's why you see we are here to raise funds for that, and to also encourage the medical board of the Baptists that we are behind them. Any project, be it school, be it what, that they're bringing to our village, we will welcome them. To the Mbomland, we will welcome all. We will welcome all and support it. If we have been building churches, why not building the hospitals? If we have been building schools that have given to us, why not building hospitals that will help people that are suffering and are dying back there at home?
This project, which is estimated to cost about 77 million francs CFA, will be raised by all the sons and daughters of the Ndonga-Mantung division, both at home and abroad.
Over to the southwest region, specifically in the Meme division, the 12 families of victims severely injured during the Kumba carnage of October 24, 2020 have received 250,000 francs CFA each as financial assistance. The money was distributed over the weekend in a ceremony chaired by the paramount ruler of the Bafos, His Royal Highness Mfon Mokete IV Ekoko. Details with Catherine Kone.
Another solidarity fund from sons and daughters of Kumba, residents in Minnesota, USA, offered financial assistance to representatives of injured victims of the deadly Kumba school attack on October 24, 2020. The handing-over ceremony, which took place over the weekend at the fund's palace, was chaired by His Royal Highness Mfon Mokete IV Ekoko.
On the 24th of October, we did give support to those who lost their lives, to the families who lost loved ones. This was several weeks ago. But today, what we're doing, we're focusing on the families who also got affected by the tragedy, with children who were in hospital, some of the children convalescing at home. But we felt it was important to give them support and also celebrate the living. We got this opportunity because of the Cape Towners Association of Minnesota, who were so generous to contact me via their representative, Barrister King, to give out these envelopes to the affected families.
The donors, who are known as Cape Towners living abroad, provided a sum of 2.3 million francs CFA, while the Friends of Kumba added 700,000 francs CFA, which was distributed to the 12 affected victims.
5 personalities, after the carnage which occurred in Kumba on the 24th of October 2020, Mother Francisca, they felt the pains. It's against this that they thought it wise to see how they can alleviate some of the death which the 12 injured families have undergone. They raised a colossal 2.3 million francs CFA to distribute to these 12 families.
The beneficiaries thanked the benefactor for their kind gesture and prayed God replenish their sources of income. It should be recalled that this is not the first time such a gesture is being carried out by Cape Towners in the diaspora. They had equally assisted the bereaved families of the 7 children gruesomely killed at Mother Francisca International Academy.
And in sports, current AFCON champions, the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, are still proving tough on their Mozambican soil as Vincent Abubakar scored the lone goal right up to this moment.
Who is more advanced than on Saturday out there in terms of his position of play. Clinton J picks up the ball from this far left. There is Fabrice who is providing an option, and he gets the ball. The Raja of Casablanca left defender. A diagonal kick with Clinton J at the 18-meter box, he picks it up. But it is the Mozambicans who move the ball out of the field of play or out of the danger zone. Picked up once again by Jean-Charles Castelletto. Kunde Malong at that far right. Momin Kamale inside the 18-meter box. Vincent Abubakar controls beautifully. And that is what happens when you leave. The Besiktas forward has once again crucified the members of Mozambique out here in their own area, and
that is the hottest scoop of that encounter right up to this that has kept the Lions on top form of their game. Mozambique missed a goal opportunity via penalty, while Cameroon looks forward to return home with 3 points. Good night.